Hello, Yakri here with another Warframe video, and this time I want to talk about what's so great about the Adarza Kavat. The Adarza Kavat is one of two companions that I actually bother using. Don't consider the rest of them to be particularly useful, although there are one or two others with okay niche uses. In particular, the Adarza Kavat is the best companion for damage enhancement in terms of, like, general ease of use. There is that, I think it's the Helios that can highlight weak points on enemies, but the ability from Cat's Eye is a little bit more generalizable and works on everything, other than, of course, not affecting your operator, so I prefer it overall. And I pretty much just use this thing and Carrier, and I'll probably do another video about why Carrier is so overpowered another time. But in this case, we're going to talk about Cat's Eye, right? Because that is what makes the Adarza Kavat great. Everything else about it is garbage. No one gives a shit. It's just it's a companion. They don't really do anything except for their one unique, like, special bonus. If you really pimp them out, they can kind of kill low-level enemies, but that's kind of whatever. So you basically blow all of your slots you have. I've actually formatted this thing one time for God knows what reason. I probably will format even more to make it better at surviving. I don't think I actually do have a reason to format it more. Never mind. But, you know, theoretically, I could, if I wanted to max out Link armor, perhaps format it another time for Link health, so it can survive Eidolon fights better. Anyway, you just dump everything else as survival. Animal Instinct is kind of neat, and, you know, you can have that on any companion. But Cat's Eye is the real moneymaker here, right? 60% bonus crit chance. Now, this is 60% additive crit chance. So let's look at the Archiplasmor, for example. So the Archiplasmor with that 60% bonus crit chance is going to go to 101.8% chance to crit. This is really nice for the Archiplasmor because it is, you know, somewhat of a crit weapon. It's not like a great crit weapon, but it's got okay base crit, and it's a shotgun, so it has access to primed ravage, which I don't have maxed out, but in particular, if I did, this weapon is fantastic with Cat's Eye. However, pretty much everything is significantly damage boosted by Cat's Eye. 60% crit chance as an additive bonus is quite good on all kinds of weapons. Both weapons with a very low base crit chance, so you're likely going to build them for all damage, and so relative to the amount of crit chance you have, the 60% bonus is a huge increase, right? Those weapons get a big benefit, and also weapons that have a good critical multiplier after mods, right, get a good bonus out of that. So the Atomos is another one where it's like pretty decent because it has kind of crap base crit chance. You're probably not going to build it for crit. You theoretically can, but right? And it's got an okay crit multiplier, a little bit better than baseline, which would be 1.5. So it's pretty good with that. I actually probably won't show off the Archititon, but it looks so cool, doesn't it? Yeah, anyway. Boosting weapons like that are why this Kavat is good. I also like the Adarza Kavat for when I'm like leveling stuff on like Hydron, right? Because of course if you kill things with the weapon you're leveling, that will get you better XP, and often if you're just doing pub groups, you can't really depend on other people to like slaughter so much stuff for you as to get you like efficient XP, right? So boosting your weapon damage is very handy in that regard, especially when combined with being a decent MR, so you can, you know, mod out your weapons to an okay degree, right? Also, so let's take a look at this before this Cat's Eye buff wears off. Boom! See that? Pretty much, or actually no, literally all criticals. And now that it's off, you can see a lot of non-critical hits in here, right? Still a decent number of crits because it does have that 40% crit chance, of course, but it's quite a good amount of extra damage from those additional critical hits. And as you can see with this, with the Atomos, right, it's doing okay damage, but not great. And with Cat's Eye on, it does fantastic damage, bringing it up to 75% chance to crit with a 1.7 times multiplier, right? And so, you know, it's not like astonishing huge bonus, but the thing is that the Kavat is kind of an add-on, right? You lose out on Vacuum, which is very convenient, of course. However, if you are doing a mission where you don't need to pick up energy orbs and you don't need to get any loot from the mission, right? Because you know, maybe you're doing Hydron, right? All the resources there you've already got plenty of. You've already got plenty of credits. You don't really care about getting mods anymore. If you're in that kind of situation, then it's totally okay to swap over to a Kavat instead of a Why is my brain failing me here? Sentinel, right? It's okay to swap over to a Kavat from a Sentinel. You're not losing out on that much, right? If you already need everything. Of course, if that loot does matter to you, I highly recommend sticking to the Sentinel because you do lose a pretty surprisingly substantial amount of loot by not having vacuum. And on a lot of missions, I would rather have the convenience of being able to pick up energy orbs without too much trouble, right? Without really thinking about it. And of course, the actual passive carrier is very good, and that's a whole nother conversation. Let's see. The Adarza Kavat is Adarza Kavat. Yeah, Adarza Kavat. I keep getting its name wrong. Is also really good for Eidolon hunts. A lot of people have abandoned it for Eidolon hunts. The thing is that there is not another companion that is useful at all on Eidolon hunts besides the Adarza Kavat. And it is useful for taking down the last stage of the Eidolon, right? When you're shooting at its head after taking down all the Synovas, I think that's what they're called. If you happen to get Cat's Eye at that time, which the odds of that are quite good if everyone brings one, then you can take it out much faster. I mean, 60% bonus crit on any weapon is going to be really good. You're probably going to use something like a Lanka or Opticore, which is going to benefit quite a lot from this buff. Even though the Lanka, of course, is a crit weapon, it has a huge crit multiplier, so you're going to be quite happy with that. Of course, I'm not too big a fan of the Kavat default looks, which is why I got this skin. You can find this on Cetus if you're curious. So, yeah, that pretty much sums it up. This is one of the, few really worthwhile bonuses that hasn't been totally shit into the ground in terms of non-Sentinel companions. I still think it's kind of a rare circumstance when it's actually worth it to, trade off the convenience of having vacuum and getting all the loot in a mission for having increased crit. But when you are focused on grinding affinity, or if you're killing Eidolons, it can be worthwhile. So that is the one good thing about the cats, right? And hopefully we'll get a nice Pet 2.0 rework at some point in the future, so I don't have to be so cynical about literally every pet being a piece of shit. If it's not fucking carrier. Anyway. So that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and if you like this content, please, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Yakri out.